So I talk a lot about grieving the loss of living people. And my grandma passed the week of Halloween. And I just been I didn't expect her passing to hit me like it has. Like I didn't expect to be bombarded and, you know, just hit this hard by her passing. But I literally just been spending time just trying to fight myself out of a funk that I really haven't had much success with fighting myself out of. And today I was just, listening to my music, and music has always spoke to me in my most stressful moments, has always been an outlet for me. And like the Lord just began to speak to me. So, and I literally had a whole breakdown. But I'm okay. I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna make it. But when I talk about grieving the loss of living people, I never talk about how do we get to that place. How do we know when it's time to grieve that loss? How do we know when it's time to let go? And for me, my grieving the loss of living people came after some radical acceptance. And that means that I had to accept things and people for who they were and what they were and the actions that they chose, regardless of how much I wanted them to change, how much I wanted them to be different people, or what I wanted them to be for me and in my life and in their role in my life. I had to radically accept that we have different views and that life would never be that way with those particular people because they're going to be them. And I'm not going to take down to have them a part of my life, or to have them be who they should be or who I desire for them to be. So with this radical acceptance came a long time for me to deal with some things and to digest some things and to really honestly just try to prove God wrong. I would go on record to say that, and not to prove him wrong, but still trying to operate in forgiveness and turning the other cheek and all of that. So I began to radically accept a lot of things at the end of 2019, and it was hard. That part of everything was hard, but the most difficult part came last year, 2021 in September, when I had to make a decision of was I really gonna radically accept people for who they are, or was I gonna continue to make excuses and settle. And the hardest part about grieving the loss of a living person is that it's just like grieving the loss of someone who has passed away. The only thing is that that person is still walking this earth and that person is still around. And at some point, you're going to have to grieve the loss of that living person all over again. And that's one thing that I never really talk about, because if the Lord allows you to outlive that person, you're going to have to go through that grief process all over again. And I'm thinking that the tears that I've been shedding and the hurt and the pain that I've been feeling is because of that. It's because of me realizing that I'm still going to have to grieve the loss, although I've made peace with not having these people in my life, and with accepting that they would never, be who and it's not, a lot of times we look at it as you want someone to be who they're not. You want someone to do what they're not capable of doing or what they won't do. So you're hurting yourself. But it's not so much of that. It's so much of realizing that the role that that person should play in your life, you have to accept that that person is never going to play the role that they should in your life. Like, we have desires as children when we're born. Our parents are supposed to be our protectors. Our parents are supposed to nurture us and love us. And we have to get to a place in adulthood where we have to say it's either me or one of my parents, or me or both of my parents. Then it's like, oh my God, like, I have to accept that this parent, yes, this parent may have given birth to me or attributed to me being on this earth, but they will never be the parent that I need. And some children honestly need different parents than what they have. So it's not so much of trying to make someone be who you desire for them to be. And another thing is, when a person has a lot of children, that's a lot of spreading yourself thin. That's a lot of children being ignored. That's a lot of children being swept under the bus. So a child may go lacking just at the cost of being a part of a large family. And when you have to accept that a parent is not going to be who you need them to be, how do you fill that void? You can never fill that void. It's just like today I realized that, you know, losing my grandma put me back, made me go down memory lane, made me think about what could have been and what maybe should have been. But at the same time, I realized that those things will never be. That time has passed for that relationship to be built, for those conversations to be had, for those things to be done. But at the same time, it doesn't take away the grief and the pain and the hurt I feel when I think about that'll never be the parent. Like, God birthed me to that gave me that person to give birth to me, but that'll never be the person that I needed it to be. So God used someone else as an instrument so that he could use me for his glory. And that pain that I felt for my life has geared me and built me and taught me to be a whole different person. It's given me a purpose. It's given me an outlet. It's given me my faith, because if I never had such a horrible time and all those experiences, I would never have the faith that I do now. I would never be as close to God as I am now, because I had no other choice but to lean and depend on God. I didn't have anything else. I had my granddaddy, but at the same time, he couldn't do what needed to be done. He could only do so much. So I had to find an outlet. I had to find somewhere and someone that I could cleave to, that was going to sustain me, that was going to hold me, and that was going to keep me. And the only person and the only thing that could do that was God. So I think about that, and I think about how faithful God is, because even when we're in those situations where we have to grieve the loss of a living person or a relationship, God is so powerful. He's so mighty. He's so amazing to give us just what we need. He has songs, people to write songs, to place them in our spirit, just to lift us up. The Bible, we can get in that Bible and we can dig. Nobody's going to love us like God anyway. Nobody anywhere is going to love us like God. So we have to be mindful. We have to know that, yes, we have to grieve those losses. Death is going to come. Pain is going to come. Hurt is going to come. But we have to know that as we're grieving, we have someone that's going to hold us and going to keep us and put us in the palm of his hands and make sure that we're going to be all right. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's stressful. Yes, it's painful. But at the same time, he's so faithful. God is so faithful. And I know without a shadow of a doubt that if I ever get in a place where I'm derailing, God is going to put me back where I need to be. He's going to continue to show up and show me where I need to be and what I need to do. And I'm so thankful. And I know within me that that grief that I feel, that pain that I feel, I'll never be bamboozled into saying, well, at least they're still living and I can try. I'm never going to be bamboozled into that again, because I've tried that. So I know within me and I know within myself that I have God. I have to lean and depend on God, and I have to listen to what God is saying to me, because even when I feel like nobody's there and nobody can reach me, I know God can. God speaks to me. I know he can, and I know he will. So we have to radically accept that we're going to have to grieve the loss of some people, situationships, and relationships, and lean wholeheartedly on the Lord. It takes a lot for him to get us to that place where we realize it's only him. There's nobody else. It's only him. It takes a lot for him to get us to see that. But when he gets us to see that with the relationship we long for, we need to put that nurturing into the relationship with God. Nurturing that relationship. I'm talking to myself, nurturing that relationship with him. Because he's going to be the one there every time to dry our tears, to pick us up when we're weak, to see when we're going into a depression, to see when we're stressed out, to see when our anxiety won't let us rest. It's only God. It's only God.